Do y'all remember when the Proud Family reboot first put the internet in a frenzy?
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country.
We'll take the 40 acres, keep the mill.
We made your families rich
from the southern plantation air. Cause this country was built on slavery, which means
slaves built this country.
And we demand our 40 acres and a mule.
If it wasn't for Tony.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning back in. I'm back with another Proud Family video, and this is a video on the topic and the most controversial episode or clip from the Proud Family reboot that I never did. The slaves built this country.
Slaves built this country.
Mind you, this episode came out over a year and a half ago, which is when the last season came out. They still taking a long time with that. Who knows why? When it first came out, I thought about doing a reaction commentary on it, but it was just too much going on with that. It was too much around it. It was like too many political arguments in the comments. I would watch on other videos on Twitter or on TikTok, and I was like, do I really want that on my channel?
You think you know, you have no idea.
Proud Family, the original, has always been one of those progressive series, talking about different issues, all the phobias, all the isms, homophobia, fat phobia, ableism, racism, colorism, per se, bullying, pretty privilege, Islamophobia. Like, the Proud Family, you really look at the old show, and some of these new episodes, they really discussed it in a way that was like digestible. It wasn't like, kind of understood it back then, but when you rewatch it now, you're like, okay, I like how they did that. With this episode, this just went in a whole different direction, in a whole new extreme even I didn't expect.
Slaves were men.
And women, and only we can free ourselves.
Emancipation is not freedom.
And because of this clip, this also added to that theory and that narrative of the Proud Family reboot being anti-white, making white people feel guilty for what happened in the past, in the civil rights era, in the slavery era. We want reparations. Black people need reparations for what happened to our ancestors 150 plus years ago. Now, like, that was the attitude. And a quick synopsis, this episode was them on the debate team, right? Interestingly enough, this was the only episode in the whole 2 seasons of the reboot where Zoey lost her voice. She was not able to speak up.
Down like that, okay?
Interesting. I'm gonna talk about that too. The first debate they had was about social media. Dejanay was like the head of that one, helping them to win. They moved on to the next round. The next topic of the debate was about reparations. Are reparations necessary? Do people deserve reparations or not? Penny's team, Penny, Dejanay, Maya, Myron, and Zoey had to discuss why reparations were necessary. Instead of going up there and speaking about it like they did in the first debate, where they just, stay behind the podium and talk about point 1, point 2, point 3, Dejanay decided to switch it up. And they all had this idea of like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Thus comes the slam poetry version of slaves built this country.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country.
Tilled this land from sea to sea to sea.
Fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained America's slaves.
Built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build it.
And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering.
And continue to earn reparations, prejudice, racism, and
white supremacy
that America was founded with and still has not atoned for.
We made your families rich
from the southern plantation heirs
to the northern bankers to the New England ship owners.
Slaves built this country. We had Tubman, Turner,
Frederick D.
Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, public schools, feeding private prisons, where we become slaves again. And keep the mule.
Keep the 40.
We're taking our freedom.
I kid you not, when I first saw this, when I first watched this on my TV, before it went viral, my first time watching this, before I knew what was gonna happen, I sat there like, and I had to rewind it. I rewinded it like 3 different times just to really soak it in, because it was so much rah, rah, rah. Like, they was just going real fast. Boom, boom, showing all these pictures, showing real pictures, all these animations. And I was like, whoa.
Hold up, wait. Oh my God, hold up.
And my question to y'all is, when y'all first saw that clip, whether it was on the TV or whether you saw it going viral on social media, when you first saw that slaves built this country clip with all the different things they were saying, right? Did you take it at face value, or did you do your own research, or did you know enough to be like, this is not true, or, oh, I agree with this. Wow, I can't believe they really went there. There was so many different mixed reactions. My first reaction was, wow, I can't believe they went there.
Slaves built this country.
And this is how I know that the writers took inspiration from Black Twitter or just viral tweets, because I remember not a few months or a year before this episode came out, there were a lot of popular threads or viral tweets about Black people needing reparations, the government owing us reparations. And of course, there was debates in the replies, but I was like, wow, now the Proud Family has a whole segment about it. Another question I have for y'all is, do y'all think that was a healthy debate topic? Like, if you was in high school or maybe even college, do you think that would have been a debate topic that the professor would have proposed? Honestly, I can say yes. Even in middle school, I remember having like an Afrocentric teacher, and she was really one of those, like, you know, trying to teach us about Black history. She taught us about different types of history, but when it came to Black history, African history, there was a focus on it. As opposed to, I know in some colleges, some schools, some history classes, some history professors, they just have it as like a little segment: slavery, civil rights movement, Jim Crow, done, and then you on to the next thing. They don't spend that much time on it. You know, each topic gets about a good 2 weeks. You take a quiz, you take a test on it, then you on to the next thing. When y'all were in class, whether it was middle school, high school, you took college history classes, what were the history segments that y'all professors focused on the most? What were the history segments that stood out to y'all the most? Was it the Black history segments with the civil rights movement, you know, Martin Luther King, Jim Crow, slavery? What really stood out to y'all? And what do you think was, in a sense, overtaught? The reason why I asked that is because of this clip with slaves built this country, and you know, all the backlash and all the people saying that's inaccurate, that's not right. What about the Native Americans? What about a lot of people also had this attitude, and I even seen it in my comments I did about the white guilt video with Zoey and Maya's white father. People were just like, I'm tired of learning about Black history. I'm tired of hearing about Black history. Slavery happened so long ago. I'm tired of this. Stop being victims.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that.
And I don't know if y'all seen this in the news, but there's even been a push for certain states, certain schools to just extinguish certain Black history topics from the curriculum. I'm like, whoa.
Oh my God.
Now here's what I got to say about that. In history class, like I said, there's many things you learn on repeat, like slavery, civil rights, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Jim Crow. There's certain things you learn about over and over again. But along with that, it was also like the Holocaust, Japanese internment camps, all different kind of things. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Certain things in history I felt like we all learned about. Whether it had to do with Black history, Jewish history, Japanese history, all the different wars, world wars, like certain things you learned about, Christopher Columbus, like all those things you always learn about. And as you go to the next grade, you be like, didn't we learn about this last year? Or didn't we? Okay. You know? But for some reason, when it comes to Black history, that just grinds a lot of people's gears. Oh, I'm tired of hearing about this. Oh, it happened 150 years ago.
You talking about class? You got a lot of nerve.
And personally, for me, I feel like no matter how long ago it happened, this should be taught. It's insightful. It could be traumatizing, it could be depressing to learn about, but this is history. You know, you can't erase history because it makes you uncomfortable. It happened.
Nothing more, nothing less.
And one key moment in that little slam poetry clip with the slaves built this country is when they say, we deserve reparations for their suffering.
And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering.
And continue to earn reparations.
To me, that's where the lines get blurred, where it's like, okay, you can see the arguments for reparations, you can see the arguments against reparations, but saying something like, we deserve reparations for their suffering. You know, the suffering that your ancestors went through. Some black people and their ancestors had to go through the suffering. Now, 150, 180 years later, I'm a descendant of a slave that was treated so bad, did so bad. I deserve compensation for what they went through. It's like, and I also seen that point of people saying, so you're supposed to get paid for something you never went through by somebody that never did it to you?
Could somebody please make it make sense?
And if anything, I know I'm doing a lot of segues because it's this has been on my mind for over a year and a half. This could have been an informative type of slam poetry thing where they could have talked about more of like the things happening today with Black Lives Matter and police brutality and how slavery is still going on in certain parts of Africa. Now, today, almost over 7 million people in Africa, the continent, many different countries, still going through slavery. That could have been a point to bring up. But the way the writers went about it and the way it just got boom, boom, slammed in your face and you see all these images and all these animations and all these things, it's like there was truth to it. But when you think about it, you look at it, it was like, what was the point of having that in this episode or in the cartoon in general? What was the intended outcome? What did they want people to take away from that? You know, you think about it. And I know I always get a lot of flack for saying this. Oh, it's a children's cartoon, it's a kid's cartoon. Why would you put this in a kid's cartoon? Proud Family is one of those shows that a lot of people watch. Kids, teens, adults, like me that grew up with the original. But when I first saw that and I kept rewinding it, I already knew. I said, damn, this is going to go viral on Twitter or all over social media. But I thought about it. I'm like, what did they intend to do with this clip?
As we celebrate Juneteenth for the umpteenth time, our account is still outstanding.
Like, what was the ultimate goal with having them say, slaves built this country, we deserve reparations? They had to build the whole entire thing of it being, oh, it was just a debate for the episode. But no, the writers, the animators, they did that for a reason. They wanted to incite all of this debate, all of this discussion, and they wanted to make people, what? And y'all know I had to talk about this because I talked about it many times. The way they do Zoey here is so weird, odd. Like I told y'all earlier, this is the only episode in the whole 2 seasons of the reboot where Zoey just lost her voice. She couldn't talk. So when they're doing this slam poetry chant, when they're doing this presentation, Zoey pops in and out. Notice? She doesn't talk. She mostly holds up signs. And in certain parts of this presentation, she disappears.
Disappear, ghost. Didn't they say Lincoln freed the slaves?
But slaves were men.
And women.
So you see, they kind of put Zoey in a role of like the quiet ally, right? And then you think about it, they probably thought it would be weird for Zoey to be like, slaves built this country, So they had her just be silent and hold up signs. But it's like, oh, okay. 4 episodes later, Penny and Dejanay was getting mad at her because the light-skinned black boy chose her over them. And they isolated her. And then, oh, he only likes you because you're white.
You're all just jealous that Noah asked me out.
Shut up!
See, Zoey, you just don't get it. I'm out.
Penny even has a breakdown trying to mediate the situation. You see what I'm talking about? Watching this season, episode after episode, it was just a lot of odd choices the writers and producers and animators made when they was crafting these episodes. So with all of that being said, I wonder if this clip alone is one of the reasons why they take so long with the new season. We all know about the writer's strike, but most shows already done came out and on a next season by now. Proud Family, it's been a year and a half since this episode came out and they haven't even released a teaser. So I'm thinking, are they really trying to do a redemption season? Like, okay, we got so much backlash because of this, because of that. Let's try to really carefully craft this. Or when the next season come out, is it going to be even more controversy with what they put in the show? What do y'all think? And what kind of topics would you like for the new season of the Proud Family to discuss? When y'all first saw that clip, slaves built this country, what were y'all initial reactions? Like I said, did you agree with it? Did you partially agree with it? Did you completely disagree with it? Did you have to go and do your own research to make sure, like, And because of a clip like that, what do you think about people in general saying they're tired of hearing about black history and black complaining and people playing the victim, and even certain schools trying to take black history out of the curriculum? Let's talk about this down below. I can't wait to read y'all comments on this. I know this is gonna be a deep, interesting discussion. Let's talk about it down below. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see y'all in the next video.